Hi guys, I'm Audrey. This is my very first video, so just a little bit about me. I did the Disney College program in spring of 2018 and I had such a great time. But with applications coming up soon, I feel like I know some knowledge that isn't widely spread on the internet, and I feel like even within the Disney College program isn't very well known. That I learned, so I thought that I would share it with you guys about the application process. So, without further ado, I'm just gonna get started. So, basically, the whole application process was super stressful for me. I just find that, like, as someone with anxiety, it was very stressful. I was on edge pretty much all the time because, you know, the first thing you turning in your application is absolutely stressful as it is, like filling it out and everything. But once you turn it in, it's like you're constantly like, am I going to get an email? Am I going to get moved to the web-based interview? All this stuff. And you're waiting for the next step. And so I actually had a disaster at the end of mine, which we'll get to in a different video. Right now we're just talking about the application process, the like initial application process. But oh my goodness, I was on edge every day for about a month before I officially got accepted, which obviously we know that I got accepted because why would I be here if I didn't? Because this was such a stressful time for me, I ended up going to YouTube a lot to find information about things. A lot like probably what you're doing right now. Or maybe you're just like watching these for fun because you've already done your program and you're like, oh, I remember when I was like so stressed about getting in. I don't know, I do that. Maybe that's just me. The thing is that I hadn't watched any of these videos until I had already had my phone interview. So I didn't really know about any of the sort of things that Disney looks for in the applications, which I actually ended up learning a lot about. So a little bit about why I applied. It was the spring semester of my sophomore year, and I had met this girl last year who we had got along really well, and we both really liked Disney. And so we had always joked that year about like, oh, what if we did the Disney College program? But in the end, she ended up going to a different school. She ended up moving back home, and it was really sad. I have had a very hard time making, sorry, the lights sometimes stop working and it's annoying. But yeah, she had gone home and it was really sad. I was really sad because I've had a really hard time making friends in college, and I don't necessarily know why. I have a guess to why. My school is very sorority based and everything, and I don't know, I was just really bummed about it. So I decided the fall semester of my sophomore year that I was going to apply to the Disney College program for the spring semester because my friend had said that she was going to also apply. And so I ended up applying, and I didn't really know much about like anything about like keywords or anything, but I applied. So yeah, so I decided to apply. She applied at the very beginning, I believe. I don't know if it was the very first day, but she applied at the beginning. And I ended up applying not until the beginning of September. I think it was September 4th is when I applied. The whole application process, I got my acceptance in October. October 10th, so it took about a month for me to get accepted overall, and I got a near instant web-based interview. I think it took about a day for me to get a web-based interview. So a little bit about my application. Again, at the time I didn't know about keywords or anything, but I ended up using them anyway. So I actually had my best friend help me out, he works at a college writing lab for his college. So if you wanted some help to condense it or whatever, because mine was very condensed. I had a whole bunch of work experience and I had written out these paragraphs originally that I was gonna keep. Unfortunately, I didn't save it, so I can't like even have it for if I was gonna apply again or anything, but I could have help again, you know, you might help me out. The other thing I suggest is maybe if your school has something like that, which I think I know a lot of schools do, or even a writing center, just go there and see if they can help you out. So yeah, I ended up doing that, and I didn't even realize it, but I had used a lot of like safety, the word safety, and like customer service a lot, which I think really helped me with my chances, because again of those keywords, not so much customer service, but a lot with safety and everything. I don't think that work experience is a huge deal, but for sake of just completely telling you everything, for transparency, I'm just going to tell you a little bit about my work experience at the time. So at the time, I had been working at an ice rink for 4 years. All through high school, I worked at an ice rink. I was a skate guard, which really led me to be like, oh, I have a lot of experience in safety and making sure everyone is safe. And that being said, I've also worked in retail for 2 years now. I think I'm going on my 3rd year. It's also definitely worth noting that I met 2 people on my program who had no prior work experience, and that they had, I believe one of them had definitely done some serious volunteering, and then the other one I'm not too sure about her because we were actually not really friends, but that's another story. But I'm sure she must have had some sort of experience. So if you don't have any work experience, or you have just a little work experience, or you know, you've only had like a job for a year or something, don't be discouraged or anything. You definitely don't need like to show, oh, I've worked here for 4 years, I've worked here for 2 years. You're only 20. They don't expect you to have worked, you know, they don't even expect you to have worked. Like, so when it comes to picking out which roles you'd be interested in, I wasn't too picky, obviously. I put like medium to high interest in quick service food and beverage, which is what I ended up getting. I put high interest in merchandise, and I put, you know, high interest in attractions, things like that. The fun things that everyone wants. I put very low interest in very few things, and I think that also helped me out because it gives them more things that they can put you in potentially. If you're only looking for a job as a PhotoPass photographer and you don't have any experience with photography or anything, and you just think it would be fun to be a PhotoPass photographer, they're not going to pick you. You need to have, you know, a couple of different options that you would be open to. Even custodial. I've heard that people love custodial and that it's actually way more fun than like quick service or anything, which as we'll get into later, quick service is not the most fun. I definitely wish I had been a merchandise cast member, which is actually, I was actually really surprised when I ended up being a quick service cast member because I had no experience with food whatsoever. So the reason that I feel that I know a lot more than most people on application, at least the initial one, is because I ended up taking a resume class in one of the career building classes that you can take. It's not one of those like program long classes or anything. I never took one of those. I just took a couple of one-off classes. Actually, I only ended up taking one just because I was in an internship class through my college that I needed to go to some things and do some things in order to pass the class in the end of the semester. So I ended up going to the resume building class, and I went and I learned a lot about my resume. It was very helpful because it's something that I'm not super good about. I actually learned that for my profession that I'm going into, I'm actually not going to need a regular resume. I'm going to need another kind of resume because there's a whole bunch of different types of resumes. And so I ended up learning a lot. So I definitely suggest that if you do get into the DCP, that you take some of those classes, those career building classes. They're really nice. They're just, you know, a couple of hours, and if you don't have to work or you don't want to go to the works or anything, they're really nice. And if you live in Vista, they're right there. So yeah. However, when I was in this class, the teacher ended up talking a little bit about the application process, and she told me that there's basically a computer program that goes through everyone's application, and it puts you in the good bin and the bad bin. And I guess that when you use certain keywords, like I think specifically the 4 keys, probably customer service or something is in there as well. I'm not sure 100% about these keywords, what they are, but they're definitely good things to do. I think one thing for absolute positive is that don't go overboard with all the 4 keys. I wouldn't even say put all of the 4 keys. Maybe pick 2. Pick your 2 favorite, or even Disney's 2 favorite, which is courtesy and safety. Not in that order. It's safety and then courtesy. But use it sparingly. Use it maybe a couple of times, because I think I ended up using customer service and safety a couple of times. Not too much either, because I think that does end up giving you a little bit of a kind of like suck-uppy vibe. I'm not sure. And again, it is a computer program, so you never know. So when you're in that infamous under review. That could mean that you were put in the bad bin. That could mean that you were put in the bad bin, that you could have been put in, I think if you get put in the bad bin, you might automatically be like one of the first waves to get no longer in consideration. I think there must be some sort of like in-between bin, or I'm not really sure how it works. I'm sure there must be either an in-between bin or like you just get put into the good bin, and then, I mean, obviously they're not real bins, but like, so I think that you either get put into the good bin and then there's an actual person who goes through, and I was told that there is an actual person. So there's a computer program, and once you've made it through that round, you get put into see an actual person. An actual person sees your application. And so I think that maybe if you're not getting an NLIC, if you're not getting NLIC'd until the very last day, maybe an actual person went through and thought, not really. But maybe once we get to the end, if we don't get a bunch of other, maybe if we don't meet our quota or something. I'm not exactly sure how it works for sure, but this is kind of the vibe that I got from this lady who was teaching this class, and she works for Disney. I'm not sure that she works in the application department necessarily, but you know, that's something to think about. I think it's been, you know, tossed around that there is some sort of algorithm or something that decides, but there is an actual person as well. So it goes from algorithm to an actual person. And from there, it's all just Disney magic, how they pick people. So if you're lucky, you end up in the good bin and the person decides that your application is really great, so they move you on to the web-based interview, which I'll discuss in length in another video. I also feel like I know a lot about those because I took an entire class on personality and personality quizzes and all that stuff, all that good stuff, so I basically know how to ace that also. So I basically understand how that one works as well, so if you want to watch that video, that will be up soon, but I just do have a couple more things to say. So because of this process, and because they get so many submissions, this leads a lot of people in submission. If they just think that you're mediocre, not you, but your application is just mediocre, then there's a chance that you might end up just in submission. And that's no fun for anyone. In fact, that friend that I was talking about at the beginning of the thing, she got NLIC'd on the very last day that you could get accepted, which is no fun, and we were both heartbroken about it because we thought that we would be able to be like roommates and stuff, and like we were just so excited, but that's just not how it worked out. And it was kind of her last chance to apply. So really bummed about that, but you know, I had gotten in and I really, really needed the change, and so I went ahead anyway. She would have been an amazing cast member, and she would have fit in perfectly at Disney, and she would have had the time of her life. But she didn't, all because of a stupid computer program. So definitely, if you haven't gotten in, or if you've applied a few times, then I'm not really sure what's wrong with your application. There's probably nothing. It's just, the thing that people don't talk about is that this is all really a big gamble. It's all just like, what is this one person looking for? What is Disney as a whole looking for? What is this algorithm looking for? And so it can just be really confusing. And even if you had the perfect application, it could still just be thrown to the side because they didn't like it enough or something. And or you could just get lost, you know, too. So, I mean, that's the weird thing about the Disney College program, is that there's so many applications and so many applicants that people do just get stuck in submission. And it's a downer. If you're applying right now to the Disney College program, I know that they're about to release the applications. Good luck to everyone. I hope that you guys get in. So yeah, I know the applications are going out soon, so I hope that you use some of my tips. Comment down below if you've ever been in a Lycée or if you got accepted or if you're using my tips. And then also if you are using my tips, definitely let me know if it helped you out, because even if it's not on this video, even if it's on another one, or maybe you just forget about it completely. But yeah, if you do use my tips, I definitely love to know if it helped you out. I'm just going to sum them up real quickly because I think that it can just be a little bit a lot. Make sure you use a couple of the 4 keys, which again are safety, courtesy, show, and efficiency. Do not overdo it. I think that if you overdo it, it's not going to work out for your favor. Definitely mention safety if you're going to mention any of them. And then courtesy is really great too. Also, customer service is a great word to use because it means the same thing. They mean the same thing. If you don't know what the 5 keys are, maybe I should make a video about that too, but I'm sure that you can find information about it on the internet. They're everywhere. What was my other tip? My other tip is to have a condensed application. They do not want to wade through an entire paragraph that you've made. No, just do a bullet point list of important things. Make them full sentences, make them great, but do not write, I mean, don't put a period at the end, but like make them a full sentence explaining everything but condensed and not a full paragraph. Use someone else to help you. Writing places at your college, because if you are applying to this, you should be out of college. You have these resources available to you. And if not, maybe your local library has something, you know, or online you can find people. So definitely have someone else look over your application, even if it's just your parents or something. Make sure that you're very flexible with your role options. They don't want someone who only wants one role. They want someone who's going to be flexible. And lastly, while Disney is this huge corporation that you've probably idolized since you were a child, it's not the end of the world if they don't accept you on your first try or your second try or any try. Because just remember that if you're not getting it now, it's not because you're a bad person or your application is bad. It really is just a numbers game, and it is really a gamble whether you're going to get in or not. It has a lot more to do with luck than people try and tell you in videos like these. So don't feel too bad if you, for whatever reason, don't get in on your first try or even on any of your tries. I know it stinks, but it probably just wasn't the right thing for you. And it just wasn't your time, you know, kind of that, you know, I know it's kind of like a cop-out thing to say, but yeah, this has been my application story. We also have Nikki here as our other co-host here at Disney as usual. And so I am going to also have we are also going to have another video up about her application process as well. I think she might be going over all of them at once, all 3 steps at once, whereas I think I have something distinct enough to say to make a full video on each one. Also, I think that would be really helpful as like people are starting to get the web-based interviews. Maybe they don't want all the information about all 3 parts all at once. So I thought that, you know, breaking it up and being able to have distinct videos on each one might be very helpful. So yeah. I will definitely link that video down below once hers is up. But yeah, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. Again, comment down below if you are in the college program or you've been in the college program, if you have any tips or if you disagree with my tips or anything. Since we are a new channel, we would love it if you subscribed and left a like on this video. However, if you don't want to, I totally understand. This is Audrey for Disney as usual, and I will see you next time. Bye!